It wasn't until really working as an artist that I realized that my sense of humor was allowed in art. Suddenly, it's like, this is who I am, this is what I got, this is the way I see the world. Without humor, there's just no way to survive it. It took me a while to realize I could take a Barbie doll and I could actually use that as the beginning of the conversation and then manipulate it in such a way to sort of ask a question. This piece evolved out of a much larger piece that I did and thought about trying to make one that was contained, creating an architecture, a grid, which is sort of the world, to the Barbie gown, and there's an explosion, but in my mind I'm thinking I'm releasing her and she's turning into something else, which is she's not stuck in that damn dress anymore. I wanted to just free her in my mind. When I first started using the fishing tackle, it was totally for the practical purpose of the way that you can loop the wire and then a sleeve. I mean, it's this perfect technique. But then as I was applying it to my artwork, I was thinking a lot about the lure. The opera project I called Ascending Divas. I was invited by City Opera's director to do something for their promenade space. Most of the operas are based on a heroine who, she could be good or she could be bad, but you always feel for her. She could be a bad girl, or she could be a good girl, and the emotion, though, of whichever way it is so extreme. A kernel in a lot of my work is something about just gender in that regard, and I like to play with it, and I like the humor of it. If I were to have a superpower, I think the Spider-Man superpower with the spinneret and being able to sort of web and fly and pull yourself through a city is pretty amazing. In this case, I wanted to show ultimately Spider-Man's feminine side, and it's called Spidey Striptease. So I put him in these fishnet red stiletto boots. I really like the fishnet stocking, which is sort of the diamond shape that shows three-dimensional space like a wireframe drawing. I see a connection between the wireframe and the fishnet stocking. They're basically used for the same reasons because it shows space, it shows dimension. So I'm interested in bringing this female construct, hard science, with a fishnet stocking. DeMonsta is part of Philip Johnson's glasshouse compound in New Canaan, Connecticut. And my exhibition in this room, in this building, is called Snap. And this part of it is called the Purring Chamber. Since it had this endearing name of DeMonsta, I thought, well, DeMonsta, I want to catch DeMonsta because DeMonsta is loose. And I thought, well, what if I had big climbing webs that we could just pin him down like Gulliver's Travel scale. And since it's called DeMonsta, it's so alive and animated, like its own creature. I mean, it really is sort of like partial architecture, partial sculpture, and partial creature in my mind. So bringing in the purring soundtrack, just sort of at the end, just sort of like you really feel like you're in the creature. For me, as an artist, to respond to it, it's just fantastic. There's no other space like it, for sure. Definitely central to a lot of my work is this moment, sort of a moment of explosion, which I think of anything that is exploding, it's a transition, and so any kind of transition is a rupture, so any kind of rupture could be seen as violent. There is something very exciting happening at that moment. I've never been attracted to a solid sculpture. I mean, that to me is like entrapment. I need to have space, and I need it to have the potential to be moving. And I think it's sort of just about stagnant or something heavy or weighted or, that's so permanent. I just think permanence is not really real.